you for joining, first of all, and I will be your instructor for today. So today we're just going to be learning about inputting and outputting. So yeah, but first, just a show of hands. Has anyone been able to like successfully like install VS Code and get that set up? Because we are probably going to use that today. Uh, all right, you have? That is good to hear. Okay, I'll just share my screen now and we can kind of get started. Feel free to ask like any questions or anything. So yeah. Just give me a second and yeah. All right. Um, yeah. Okay. So yeah, today's first lesson is just about inputting and outputting. I'll actually just skip this. So what exactly is input and output? Uh, b- so hold on. I'll try. I'll move my screen here. So this I think will be better. Yeah. Okay. So what is input and output? Well, input, as the name suggests, just allows you. It's what when the user wants to input something, Python has a function for that. And when someone wants to output something, Python also has a function for that. So input and output are basically when you want to receive something from the user, that's input. And when you want to print something, when you want to output something, that's what output is. So I think can be kind of best illustrated with an example. So this is hello world. That is like by this syntax right here, basically just will print whatever is in the quotation marks to the program. So for example, I'll open my VS Code here. And let's say you want to output like hi. Like that's you just want to print hi to the screen. First, the basic syntax, what you want to do is you want to type print. Print basically means output, so you just always want to type this. And then you're gonna want to do these brackets, like these two brackets out here. And inside the brackets is whatever you wanna like output. So first put quotation marks like double. So you have these double here, and then whatever you will put inside will be outputted. So let's just say I want to output hi. Hi. So this is just gonna output hi because that's all I put in here. Like it's gonna when the system reads this, they're gonna see what's inside these quotation marks, and it's the word hi. So if I click to run the program, it's just gonna say hi here. I just like run it as many times as I want. It's just gonna say hi. That is what's gonna show. So that's like the very basics of uh, printing. So I'd encourage you guys to like maybe try along, see if it also works on your end. But yeah, let's move on. And again, they can be enclosed in single or double quotation marks. So um, you don't have to put these double quotation marks. Like you can either put whatever you want in here. These are double quotation marks, or you can just do it in single. Like it doesn't matter for Python, although in some languages it does. So I could just put single quotation marks like this, and it still works the exact same way. Yeah, it still works. So all right. Yeah, and again, double quotation marks may be preferable, and I'll just illustrate an example on why sometimes you should always use double quotation marks, not single, although you can use single if you want. So let's say you wanted to output um, let's say you want to output Patrick's favorite color. Let's say this is what you wanted to print to the screen, right? Now, if you use single quotation, you can see like in the sentence, there's this like apostrophe here. So if you can just use single quotation marks, Python's not gonna know like what to do with it. Because like I'm trying to surround it with these single quotation marks, but there's also this in here, this in the sentence itself. So Python doesn't really know what to print because there's like 3 here. It's all kind of weird. But if you use double quotation marks, as you can see, this works completely fine because Python would know that this single quotation mark, that is part of the sentence because the double quotation marks are what is surrounding it. If that makes sense. So just print, and then you can see that it works fine. But if you do like, if you use single quotation marks, it's not gonna work. Like you're gonna get an error. Yeah, it's just gonna say it doesn't really know what to do. And again, there are different ways of printing. So for what we just showed was like a basic example. Like this is a basic example. It's just printing hi. But what if you want to actually print more than that? Like in this example, they've they've done what we did before. Like they've done the answer is. So let's just print the answer is. So we really know how to do this. But then they put a comma as well, and then they put a number 42. Now what the comma actually does is the comma is basically a space. So instead of actually making a space, the comma acts as a space. So instead, if you put a comma here, Python will know that whatever comes after this, there will be a space. So let's just say I did, the answer is, and I said yellow. Now let's print this out. As you can see, this I had 2 different segments. I had this segment that I wanted to print, and this segment I wanted to print. But by adding a comma here, this added a space. If you can see in the output, there's a space between is and yellow, and that's what the comma does. It acts as a space. And you can also print like a number as well. Like if you know, we learned about last class. We learned about like different data types, like numbers, integers, like all that stuff. So you could just kind of do this as well. And oh, this is capital. If I want to do a Boolean as well, like true or false, like we talked about this last class, you can do that. Just really put anything here. So yeah, just basically remember this acts as a space. This is useful if you want to combine multiple data types. So as illustrated here, this is a string, but this is a number. So as you can see, you were able to combine a string and a number together in one print statement. And if you don't want to use a comma, I mean, you could always use a manual space. And what I mean by this is, you can see an example here. It's a hi, and then they manually added a space, and they did by. And this also, when you talk about like the addition symbol here. So usually it's used in like math, obviously, but what the addition symbol does is it basically combines both strings. Like it combines both strings. So let's say the answer is yellow. So you see this string right here and this string right here. The string right here, and you put an addition symbol here, right? Now what you might expect when I print this out is that this is going to say whatever is here. It's just going to output this, right? That's what you guys would think, right? But if I actually print it out, there isn't a space. There's no space, which isn't what we want. Because the addition symbol doesn't add a space; it just combines them together. regardless of like anything. So this just straight up combines it. So like this is combined with this. There's no space or anything. That's why you want to manually add a space like this. Like you can add the space here, um, right? You can manually add a space so it actually works now. And what you can also do, if you don't want to do that as well, as you can see this like you did not want this to happen because like you want the space between here. So what if I just add a space here? You add a space here. So you're also combining the space here. You're combining this and you're combining this, which also contains a space. So that could work as well. You can also use it here as well. You can add a space here. And this would also work, this space here. So as you can see, there's like really like a lot of ways to like kind of maneuver when printing. Like there's a lot of ways you could do it. So there's not one correct way to do something because there's just like so many ways. That being said, does anyone have any questions about this? Like feel free to
Yes,
like,
I have a question.
okay.
When I try to print that in my VS Code, it
hmm
just says hi. It doesn't just print like the answer is like whatever is the.
It just says hi.
Yeah, it just says hi.
So what exactly, are you just printing this?
No, I'm printing like the whole thing that you like
Oh,
type the answers thing.
like
Yeah, that
this?
thing.
And it just says
Yeah,
hi, like,
yeah.
um, could you try maybe doing going to file here and then pressing save?
Okay,
So
okay,
press save and then try running it again.
okay.
Does it work now or save and then run?
I'm trying.
Okay. Um,
It's saying it's error. It's error.
error. You get an error. Are you sure this is exactly what you're printing?
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure why that would be. Can you just
Is he in terminal or is he just an output? Because I don't know if output will work. You have to be in terminal.
Oh. In also my computer also error it.
an error? Um,
I'm in terminal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, you
Like
have
in
to.
the terminal thing.
Okay, yeah, you have to be in terminal.
Yeah, I am in.
So, and it says error in terminal.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. Is there any way you guys could like maybe share your screen to just like so I can actually see what the error is
See,
saying?
like, see if you guys can like share your errors, the error messages you're getting in chat.
Yeah, maybe type it in chat.
And we'll try and deal with that, Patrick. If you want to continue on with the lesson, I'll see what I can do there.
Okay.
If like,
Okay.
or if I need you to show something on the screen, I'll tell you.
All right. So I'll just
Okay,
continue.
so how do I just do it in like the chat? Do
Just
I just
copy like
post it?
the error message and just paste it in chat.
Okay.
Oh, and then just
Be
Okay.
available for everyone.
and then you have to do Control Shift C, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's just a Linux thing.
I'm pretty sure. I feel like it's in Windows as well. Hold on.
Maybe actually, I don't know.
Let me try if it's in Windows because I think
Or
in
no,
Something like this.
it's because you spelled print wrong.
uh,
Okay.
oh yeah, you did spell print wrong.
Oh.
So I'll just like copy and paste this in chat just to make sure like you can just copy and paste this, make sure you didn't spell anything wrong.
That should fix the problem.
Yeah, just let us know how that goes.
Nope, it's still saying error.
Um, and you made sure to save it as well.
Yeah, it's safe. I did that.
Um, any way you could say what it says now, like what the error message says
Yeah, like
now.
if you could send a new error message as well, I think we'll be able to hopefully debug it.
Oh, it's still saying the same message, like the
Are
same
you sure
one.
you saved it?
Yeah, I did.
It's still
I
saying
just did.
You
the
went
print.
file and then save.
Yeah, I get it and save, like the control S thing.
Okay, wait, Patrick, if you could possibly help deal with this for the next like couple minutes, and if it's still not working, we'll try and help at the end of class, but otherwise just move on with the lesson.
Okay,
Okay. Okay. Which I guess we can help you at the end if needed.
okay,
Okay.
thanks.
So again, manually. This is manual spaces. Oh, this is not part of the lesson. My bad. All right. So um, this practice problem is. I know some of you guys might not be able to accomplish this, but for those of you that can, I'll just give you like maybe 3 minutes to try this practice problem where you're just printing your name. So yeah,
Now in my computer is not seeing error. It's complete.
it works.
Yeah, it's work.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. So I guess then you can maybe try this problem. So just write a problem and print your name. And yeah, I'll give you guys around 3 minutes to do that. And yeah. All right. I think that might be enough time. If any of you guys have successfully done
Um,
this. Oh,
I try in my VS Code
mm-hmm.
when I just try to go in the run options. There's
Yeah.
some options in run, like the when you go like to run button, the arrow thing, the down arrow, and then when I just click the run Python file, it works.
Oh, it works then? Okay. Um,
When I did the run Python file, yeah, like that.
so is there a run code option as well? I guess it doesn't really matter if it. Yeah, just use what works for you, I guess.
Yeah, if it works, like if you found something that works, then that's good. Just do that. As
Yeah.
long as it works,
Yeah,
then all's
it
well.
it works. It
Perfect.
Okay.
works.
All right, good to hear. All right, so now I'll just go over the answer now. Um, so basically, all you had to do was print and then print your name. So my name is Patrick, so I just put Patrick inside the quotation marks. But yeah, just change it depending on what your name is. So that one I think was pretty basic. Now we're going to go to like maybe some more advanced stuff. So this is the basic syntax outline. So I've already covered some of the stuff in here, but there's several more maybe important things that should be noted. So I'll make an example here. All right. So again, we've already learned about commas, right? We already know about how the commas work. I was going to say hi, Patrick, right? However, there are several keywords that could be used. So after you type a comma, you can also define what the separator is. And right now, so the separator is basically the separator defines what the comma does, right? So the separator, so right now the comma is a separator, right? And it's by default it's just set to space. That's why we see a space here, right? But if you want to manually set the separator to something, you do a comma here, and you're going to type separator equals. So sep is short for separator, and you're going to type what it equals to. So by default, it's just a space. That is what the separator is. So if I do this, nothing is going to change. Yeah, like the comma by default is set to a space, so that is what the separator is.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Can you write in comments this one? I cannot see.
can I? Okay, sorry. You wanna? I'll just type in comments then. Yeah. Is the screen too small for you guys, or is it like? Yeah.
Yeah, not gonna lie, it's pretty small. If you could zoom in, that would be very much appreciated because I
Okay.
also am having trouble seeing.
All right. That is my bad. Is this better? Or
That's slightly better. If you could zoom in like one more, that would be perfect. Uh,
no.
that's worth it. That works.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So apologies for the visibility issues, but so yeah, this is basically what's happening. If
It's
you
fine. Now I can see it.
okay, that's good. Um, so again, if you yeah, the separator basically just defines what the comma does. But if maybe if you want to, what if you want the comma to have two spaces or even three? Let's say, what if the comma instead of separating everything by a space, separated by like 10 spaces? So that's what you can do. So now it's gonna say hi and then a bunch of spaces in Patrick like this. Yeah. A separator defines what the comma does. So if you want the separator to be like 20 spaces, there's going to be like 20 spaces between hi and Patrick. That's kind of what the separator does. All right. And again, it doesn't have to be spaces as well. I'm pretty sure you can just put characters as well. If you want the comma, if you want these two to be separated by this dash right here, you can also do that. So there are basically like quite a bit of ways you can use this. You can put like a number, but make sure it's in strings. So like character 5, not the number 5, because the number 5 is not going to work. But if you just do a character 5, as you can see, that is still working. So yeah. And now the end command. So, all right, I think, okay, let's do an example. So right now, like so far, what we've been doing is just printing, like using one print statement, right? We're just printing out one thing and one thing only. So let me clear. Um, what if we print something else? Right, what if we have two of these? Well, it's just going to print them line by line. So this is as expected. It's going to print this on the first line, this on the second line. But what if we didn't want them on separate lines? How would we do that? It's not like, I mean, it's not like we can't combine them like this. Like if we tried um like this doesn't work. Wait, yeah, see, this doesn't work. You can't do that. Um, so what you have to do is you have to define an end. And basically, what the default right now is set to. So as you can see, like there's going to be like keywords that you can use, but usually most of them are already set to a default. And what the default right now is set to is this. It's this slash n. Now you might not know what this actually does, like slash n, like that doesn't really make sense. But what slash n does is basically it creates a new line. So think of slash n, like think of slash n, like slash n, but slash n. What this does, it creates a new line. That's all it does. It doesn't actually use these characters. Like, these characters aren't actually printed. It just creates a new line. That's a command to create a new line. That's what the default is set to right now. So that's why when I print it to the end, a new line was created because the end, that's what end was set to automatically. Um, yeah. So let's print it again. No change because this is the default right now. This creates a new line. But what if we didn't want that? What if we just wanted end to be like nothing, like just this? So now we've removed the new line creator. And as you can see, because we removed that slash n, we removed that new line creator, there's no new line now. We got hi Patrick and then the end, which is nothing, and hi bye. So it just basically connected these two with no space. How about we add a space then? As you can see, you can kind of see the difference between these two getting split just because I added that space there using the end equals something. Any questions about this?
No.
All right. If there are no questions, then let's move on. But before that, how about we do an example or a practice problem? I didn't create one specifically for this, but I think it might be good too. So here, I'll just make a practice problem here. All right. So what I want you guys to do is print your first and last name and separate it by a dash, and then print that out. So for me, my name is Patrick Chen. So what I'd output is this. I want you to print this out, but change it to your first and last name, and then separate it by this dash here. And just a hint, you're going to need the separated command for this. So I'll give you guys around 3 minutes to do that before we move on. So yeah, instead of Patrick Chen, just change it to your first and last name and just print that out. Yeah. All right, now I'm gonna assume that most of you guys have given it a go. Um, if you have, if you did solve it, that is great, good to hear. But I will just be going over the answers now. So my name is Patrick Chen. So what I did was Patrick Chen, right? Now this is default set to space, but I wanted it to be a this dash here. So I'm gonna use separator to do this. And yeah, this is how it's gonna go. Now, I mean, you could have also done this as well. If you could have also done this. You could literally just manually type that out. Both work. I mean, you could also done this. Right? You could also done this. And they all do the same thing. And really, there's even more ways to do this, but I'm just showing you guys that there's not necessarily one right answer. But if you were able to output something similar to what was shown here, but with your name, good job. All right. So right now we've just been focusing on outputting, but what about inputting? What if we want to obtain some information from the user? And again, when you're using input, you're trying to get information from the user. And okay, and remember we talked about variables last class. So basically,
Can you do it?
sorry, I didn't
Can
get.
you do Zoom?
Can I? Okay, can I zoom in? All right.
Yeah.
Is this
Okay.
better? All right.
Yeah, I see it.
All right. Okay. So remember, guys, last class we talked about variables. Let's give a brief refresher. So remember, variables store something. They can store the character 5. So let's print 5. So when we print x, we are going to print 5 because that's what x is set to. See, okay. So that's just combining the variables. But so we talked about print already, right? We talked about print. But what about input? This is when you want to obtain something from the user. So right now I'm just going to put input this. Just nothing in here, just input. This works fine as well. Now when I run the program, you're going to see there's a little box and like there's this little thing for me to type in, right? That's what input does. When you do input, it allows input from the user. So just by doing input, I can now type something in here. So I can create a value and store that inside of x. And then when you print x, it's gonna output what I stored in there. So let's say I'm storing this value. Okay, I'm storing this string inside of x. Okay, now I'm gonna press enter, and now it's gonna print what I stored, and this is why I stored. So let's make this clear. I'm gonna store value, and when I print x, it's gonna print value, right? I I set x equal to this. So when I print x, obviously it's gonna print out what I just set it to, which was the exact same thing. Does that make sense, or are there any questions? Because it can be, maybe it's confusing for the first time, but no questions? Okay. So again, I can do this 5. I can really just put anything in here, like, yeah, pretty everything in here. Okay.
It doesn't work in mine.
Now, as you can see in this example, it's a bit more advanced.
Okay.
So just like with outputting and printing, you can also put something in here. Let's say, what is your name?
Okay.
And make sure to put a space after here, and you're going to see why. So what this does, it'll send a message to the user. It's going to let the person know who runs the program what to type in. Let's say, see, it asks me what is my name, because I put that in quotation, so it basically printed that out. and now it's asking me for something because it's input, right? It's input. So I have to type something in response to this question. And I'm going to say Patrick. And now it's going to say Patrick because it was X was asking me what is my name. I said Patrick. I set that equal to X, and now I'm printing Patrick. What if we remove the space though? As you can see, it doesn't really work that well. Like it's like you can see that like what I'm typing is like it's directly after the question mark. Let's like this doesn't really look great. Like I'm typing something and it's kind of merged in, squeezed with the question mark. That doesn't really look great. But if I do a space here, you can see I get some room to actually type what I want to do. Like everything's not just kind of squeezed in like kind of here. There's a little space for me to do some stuff. Yeah. So that is the basics of this. And you can combine input and output, so you can use both of them at the same time. So again, let's use the what is your name example. So after you get the name and store it in X, maybe you can print out a message. Let's say print hello X, right? So we combined input and print together. So I can ask, they're gonna ask what my name is. I'll say hello, and then what the person inputted. What's my name? Patrick. Let's get hello and then Patrick using the print thing we learned earlier. That's pretty neat. And also, yeah, you can also use it in a different number of ways. You can put a space here like this. Oh, if you want to put like kind of exclamation marks as I was showing, and then you put X, and then you put kind of like this. Or hold on, you can, yeah, you can basically. I'm gonna just not use commas for this. I'll just use spaces. As you can see, I'm gonna do hello space my name and an exclamation mark. Yeah, so you can kind of combine input and output what we've learned just to accomplish just asking and then printing out a message based on that. And okay, this is just gonna be some practice. If no one has any questions, so write a program asking the user for their favorite color and then repeating it back to them. So this is an example of the output. Your favorite color is, and then basically this is what it should print. So based on what the user inputs, you're gonna output it back to them. And yeah, so let's say that they input the color blue. It should then say blue here. So it should change depending on what they say. All right, so I'll give you guys maybe 3 or 4 minutes to do that. All right, hopefully you guys have given that a go. If you managed to do this, then great. I'll just go over the answers for this. So, basically, ask you a question. So, what is your favorite color? And then your favorite color is, let's get a space here, and then X. So input what is your favorite color? It's going to ask the user, and then it's going to say your favorite color is space and then color. So what is my favorite color? I'm going to say orange. Your favorite color is orange. Yeah, so that's basically input and print. Now the last, yeah, this is basically, or this was another example of how you could approach the problem. Um, Instead of doing this, you could add a space here, so you don't need the comma, and then you basically add this, and then you add a period if you want to be like, if you want to just add a period at the end. So we don't need the comma now because we already have this space here, and then we just add a period here. We don't need a space before the period because the space, I mean, the period is supposed to go with the color, so that's gonna be fine. So yeah, we see the space between is and blue, but we don't see a space between the color and the period because we don't need one there. And yeah, and that concludes the end of the lesson. Last 10 minutes, I'm just gonna, if you have any questions
Can
or,
you do backslide?
sorry?
Can you do backslide for
Oh,
answer?
oh, this? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so that basically concludes the end of the lesson. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. If you do not, then thank you for joining us. Next week, there will be a different instructor.
Um, I have a question.
Yeah.
In every sentence, after like the brackets, you have to like put the commas, like the upper commas, the two ones.
Do you always have to put the commas?
Yeah, but why do we have to put those?
What? Because they're just a convenient way of making a space. Like space here, and then X. So it's just a convenient way of making a space. Like you don't need to do it.
Okay.
It's not
So we
necessary.
can do space like in manually, like
Yeah,
without putting it.
yeah, you can always just use like, for example, if you don't want this comma, just add. You can just add the space manually if you don't want to use a comma, like here. So let's say,
Okay.
yeah, it really just depends on you. There's a lot of options. Yeah. Um, any other questions? If not, then feel free to leave. Thank you for joining us today.